Kang Wu stared at his screen in confusion. The star map showed a huge empty space where there should be solar systems and trade routes. He had been working as a cartographer for the Galactic Navigation Guild for 3 years. But he had never seen anything like this before. The empty area was massive. It stretched across dozens of sectors, all marked with the same red warning. Restricted, human territory, no navigation data available, no details, no explanations, just blank space where an entire civilization should be. Wu looked around. The mapping department. His co-workers were busy with their own projects, their tentacles and claws clicking away at keyboards. The Altarians were known for their careful work, and Wu was no different. But this empty space bothered him. He pulled up older maps from the guild database. The same empty areas existed in maps from 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Even the oldest maps in the system showed these blank zones. It was as if no one had ever tried to map human space, or if they had, all the data had been erased. Wu saved his work and walked to his supervisor's office. Keth Vorn was a large, blue-skinned Rigelian with 4 eyes and a bad temper. He looked up when Wu entered. "What do you want, mapmaker?" Vorn asked. "Sir, I found some problems with the star charts. There are huge empty areas marked as human territory. No navigation data at all. Should I request the missing information from the guild archives?" Vorn's 4 eyes all focused on Wu. The supervisor's face changed color from blue to pale green. "You will do no such thing. The human territories are restricted for good reasons. Do not ask about them again." "But sir, how can we make accurate maps if we don't have data for an entire species space? Humans are one of the major powers in the galaxy." Vorn stood up quickly. His chair fell backward with a crash. "Listen to me very carefully, young cartographer. The human zones are off limits. We do not map them. We do not discuss them. We do not even think about them. If you want to keep working here, you will forget you ever asked this question." Wu left the office feeling more confused than ever. Why was Vorn so scared? What was so special about human space that even mentioning it made his boss panic? That evening, Wu stayed late at the office. When the building was empty, he used his access codes to search the guild's deeper databases. Most of the information about humans was basic trade data and diplomatic records. Nothing unusual. But then he found something strange. Every few years, the guild received reports of ships going missing near human space. Not just 1 or 2 ships. Entire exploration fleets. The reports always said the same thing. Contact lost, last known position, human border regions, status unknown. Wu kept digging. He found personnel files for guild navigators who had requested transfers away from any assignments involving human territories. Their reasons were always vague. Personal concerns, or health issues, or family obligations. On the other side of the galaxy, Parkana was having her own strange experiences. She worked as a human diplomat at Kepler Station, a neutral trading post where dozens of alien species met to do business. Hana had been there for 2 years, and she was good at reading alien body language. Lately, she had noticed something odd. Whenever humans were mentioned in meetings, the room would get quiet. Not just polite quiet, but the kind of nervous silence that meant everyone was uncomfortable. During trade negotiations, alien delegates would agree to almost anything if it meant they didn't have to travel through human space. They would pay extra fees, take longer routes, or even cancel deals entirely rather than send their ships near human systems. Hana thought this was just normal xenophobia at first. Many species were nervous around others they didn't understand. Well, but this felt different. This felt like fear. She decided to test her theory. During a meeting with Vraxian merchants, Hana casually mentioned that she had grown up on New Sol, a human colony world near the galactic core. The lead Vraxian's scales changed from green to dark purple. The alien's voice became strained. "You are from the inner territories?" "Yes, it's a beautiful world. You should visit sometime. We have excellent trade opportunities." All 3 Vraxians looked at each other. Their scales turned almost black. We do not travel to human core worlds. Our ships are not equipped for such journeys." But Hana knew that was a lie. Vraxian ships were some of the most advanced in the galaxy. They could travel anywhere. After that meeting, Hana started paying closer attention. She noticed that alien ships arriving at Kepler Station always came from the same directions, never from the regions where human space was located. Long-range sensors showed ships taking huge detours to avoid even getting close to human systems. One day she was having lunch with Captain Torres, the human military attaché at the station. She told him about her observations. Torres nodded slowly. "I've noticed it too. When I mention my homeworld to alien officers, they get this look in their eyes, like they're seeing a ghost." "What do you think it means?" "I don't know. But I've been thinking about our history classes. Do you remember learning about First Contact, about how humanity joined the galactic community?" Hana frowned. "Not really. The history books always said it was a gradual process. Peaceful negotiations, trade agreements, that sort of thing. That's just it, it's all very vague. No specific dates, no details about which species we contacted first, no information about early diplomatic meetings. It's like our entire First Contact period has been erased from history." Back at the Navigation Guild, Kang Wu had finally found what he was looking for. Hidden in the deepest levels of the archive system, protected by multiple security layers, he discovered a file labeled Protocol Omega, Human Space Restrictions. His hands shook as he opened the file. Inside was a single document, marked with the highest classification level he had ever seen. The text was short but terrifying. Galactic Navigation Guild, Emergency Protocol. Omega Subject, Human Territorial Restrictions, Effective, Galactic Standard Date, 2847-56, First Contact, plus 73 years. Classification, Beyond Top Secret, Command Level. Only all Guild vessels and personnel are hereby forbidden from entering human territorial space under any circumstances. This restriction applies to all human systems, colonies, and claimed territories as defined in attached star charts. Reason for restriction: data classified, command authorization required, special instructions. No navigation data for human territories. Will be included in public star charts. All requests for human space navigation data are to be denied without explanation. Any Guild personnel attempting unauthorized entry into human space will be considered lost with all hands. If human vessels are detected beyond their designated travel corridors, contact Guild Command immediately. Under no circumstances should any non-human vessel attempt independent navigation of human territories. Duration: indefinite authority. Joint Command. All major species end transmission. Wu stared at the screen. The file was 73 years old, dating back to just after humanity had joined the galactic community. But what scared him most was the list of approving authorities at the bottom. Every major species in the galaxy had signed this protocol. The warlike Cretans, the proud Altarians, the ancient Vorthon Empire, even species that normally hated each other had agreed to this restriction. What had happened 73 years ago that made the entire galaxy decide to quarantine human space? And why didn't humans seem to know about it? Wu quickly copied the file to a secure data pad and deleted his search history. As he prepared to leave, he realized that his simple question about missing map data had led him to discover something that powerful forces across the galaxy wanted to keep secret, something that might be more dangerous than he could possibly imagine. 3 weeks later, Park Hana received an unexpected message on her personal communicator. The sender was listed as LJ, with no other information. The message was short. "Meet me at Bar 7 tonight. We need to talk about your questions." Hana had never heard of anyone named LJ, but something about the message made her curious. Bar 7 was a small drinking place in the lower levels of Kepler Station, the kind of place where people went when they wanted to avoid attention. That evening, Hana found the bar easily enough. It was dark and quiet, filled with smoke from various alien breathing devices. She looked around until she saw a man sitting alone in a corner booth. He was human, middle-aged, with the weathered look of someone who had spent years in space. "You're Park Hana," he said when she approached. It wasn't a question. "And you're LJ?" Lim J, please sit down. He gestured to the seat across from him. I heard you've been asking questions about human space, questions that make aliens nervous. Hana sat down carefully. Who told you that? I have friends in many places. I've been working the border regions for 20 years. I see things. I hear things. Jay took a sip of his drink. And I've been wondering the same things you have. What things? Jay looked around the bar to make sure no one was listening. Have you ever wondered why alien ships take such strange routes to avoid our space? I've seen Coruscant war fleets add 3 weeks to their journey just to go around one human system. These are aliens who would normally fight anyone for any reason, but they won't even get close to our territory. Hana leaned forward. I've noticed the same thing. During trade meetings, aliens will agree to almost anything if it means they don't have to send ships through human space. It's not just ships, Jay said. It's everything. Have you ever seen an alien tourist in human space? Ever? In 20 years of trading, I've met maybe 5 non-humans who claimed to have visited human worlds. And when you ask them about their trips, they get this look in their eyes, like they're remembering something they wish they could forget. Jay reached into his jacket and pulled out a small data pad. A few years ago, I started keeping records. Every time I saw something strange, every conversation that didn't make sense, every route change that seemed unnecessary. The pattern is always the same. Aliens will do anything to stay away from human space. He showed her the data pad. It was filled with shipping records, travel logs, and personal notes. Page after page of evidence showing alien vessels avoiding human territory. Look at this, Jay said, pointing to a shipping manifest. This cargo run from Altair Prime to the Vorthan colonies. The normal route goes right through the Terran corridor. Travel time, 18 days. But look at the actual route they took. The shipping record showed a much longer path that went around human space entirely. Travel time, 42 days. They more than doubled their travel time and fuel costs just to avoid flying near our worlds, Jay explained. And this isn't unusual. This is normal. Hana studied the records. Every single one showed the same pattern. This is incredible, but why? What are they afraid of? That's what I've been trying to figure out. So I started asking questions. Carefully. The kind of questions that don't seem like questions. Jay finished his drink. What I found out is that there's an understanding among the alien powers. They call it the Silent Accord. The Silent Accord? It's not written down anywhere. No treaties, no official agreements. But every major species in the galaxy follows the same rule. Stay away from human space. Don't ask questions about it. Don't talk about it. Just pretend that entire region of the galaxy doesn't exist. Jay pulled up another file on his data pad. This one showed a star chart of the local galactic region. Human space was marked in red, surrounded by what looked like a buffer zone where no alien activity was recorded. I think the accord goes back to when we first made contact with galactic civilization. Something happened during those early years, something bad enough that every species in the galaxy agreed to quarantine us. Hana felt a chill run down her spine. Quarantine us? You mean they're keeping us trapped? Not trapped. Avoided. There's a difference. Human ships can travel anywhere they want. Human diplomats like you work throughout the galaxy, but alien ships won't enter our territory, and most aliens won't even talk about our homeworlds. Meanwhile, halfway across the galaxy, Kang Wu was having problems of his own. Ever since he had discovered the Protocol Omega file, his supervisor, Keth Vorn, had been watching him carefully. Wu tried to act normal, but he knew Vorn suspected something. Wu had spent weeks researching everything he could find about early human contact with galactic civilization. Most of the information was sealed in classified archives, but he had managed to piece together some disturbing facts. 75 years ago, when humans first developed faster-than-light travel, they had been contacted by a Vorthan exploration fleet. The initial contact had gone well. Trade agreements were signed, diplomatic relationships were established, and humans were welcomed into the galactic community. But then something had changed. Wu found records of exploration missions that had been sent to map human territory in those early years. The Rigelian Deep Space Command had sent their best cartography vessels to create detailed maps of human space. 3 ships had been dispatched. None of them ever returned. The Altarian Science Consortium had sent a research fleet to study human colonies and technology. 5 ships with over 200 scientists aboard. They had entered human space and simply vanished. The Korshan Empire had sent a military patrol to establish security agreements with human forces. An entire battle group of their most advanced warships. Last contact was a routine status report as they crossed into human territory. After that, nothing. But the strangest part was how these disappearances were handled. No search and rescue missions were launched. No investigations were conducted. No demands for explanations were made. It was as if the galactic powers had simply accepted that ships entering human space would never return. And then Wu found something that made his blood run cold. A single intercepted communication from that period, marked as Historical Archive, translator notes included. The message was from a Vorthan ship captain to his fleet commander. Approaching human colony world designation Terra Nova. Local space appears normal. Beginning orbital survey as ordered. Wait, something is wrong. The readings don't make sense. How is this possible? Commander, you need to see this. The humans, they're not... Oh gods. What have we done? What have we unleashed? Commander, recommend. Immediate withdrawal. Do not send more ships. Do not let anyone else see what we found here. The humans don't seem to know, but we have to warn the Council. We have to stop this before... The message ended abruptly. Back at Kepler Station, Lim J was showing Hana more evidence of the Silent Accord. He had collected testimonies from alien merchants, shipping logs that showed impossible detours, and even medical records from the few non-humans who claimed to have visited human worlds. Look at this, Jay said, showing her a medical report. This is from a Rigelian trader who said he visited Earth 5 years ago. After he came back, he spent 3 months in psychiatric treatment. The doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. He kept saying that human space wasn't right, and that humans were living inside something impossible. The medical report was written in clinical language, but Hana could read between the lines. The patient had experienced some kind of severe psychological trauma. He had been found in his ship's cargo hold, unconscious and muttering in languages that didn't exist. When he recovered, he refused to talk about his trip to human space. He quit trading entirely and moved to a remote colony world. The doctors said he acted like someone who had seen something that his mind couldn't process. Jay showed her more records, similar cases from different species, all involving aliens who had supposedly visited human territory, psychological breakdowns, memory problems, and in some cases, complete mental collapse. The medical reports all say the same thing, Jay explained. These aliens experienced something in human space that was beyond their ability to understand, something that damaged their minds just by witnessing it. Hana stared at the data. But that doesn't make sense. I've lived in human space my entire life. There's nothing unusual about our worlds. We're just a normal spacefaring civilization. Are we? Jay asked quietly. Think about it. How much do you really know about early human space exploration? About our first colonies? About how we developed faster than light travel so quickly after achieving spaceflight? Hana realized he was right. Human history books covered the period before space travel in great detail, but the early space age was strangely vague. The development of FTL technology was described as a series of rapid breakthroughs by unnamed researchers. The establishment of colony worlds was mentioned but never explained in detail. There are gaps in our own history, she said slowly. Pieces that don't fit together. Jay nodded. I think someone has been editing our historical records, making sure we don't ask the wrong questions about our own past. But the aliens remember what really happened. And they're so terrified of it that they've spent 70 years pretending we don't exist. As they sat in the dark bar, surrounded by the quiet conversations of Alien. 2 days after her meeting with Lim J, Park Hana received another unexpected message. This one came through official diplomatic channels, marked with the security codes of the Galactic Defense Force. The sender was listed as Commander Song, Min, Special Operations Division. The message was brief. Ms. Park, I understand you have questions about human territorial policies. I may have answers. Meet me in conference room 7 tomorrow at 0900 hours. Come alone. Tell no one about this meeting. Hana arrived at the conference room early the next morning. Commander Song Min was already waiting for her. He was a tall man in his 40s, wearing the dark blue uniform of the GDF. His face was serious, but his eyes showed a mixture of determination and fear. Thank you for coming, Ms. Park. Please sit down. Min gestured to a chair across from him. Before we begin, I need to know, how much have you discovered about the restrictions on human space? Hana decided to be honest. I know that alien species avoid our territory. I know they're afraid of something. And I know there's some kind of unofficial agreement to stay away from our worlds. Min nodded slowly. The Silent Accord. Yes, we know about that too. He leaned forward. Ms. Park, what I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest levels. There are maybe 50 people in the entire galaxy who know the full truth. I'm taking a huge risk by sharing this with you. Why are you taking that risk? Because the secrecy is getting worse. Because more people are starting to ask questions. And because I think humanity has a right to know what the rest of the galaxy thinks we are. Min pulled out a secured data pad and placed it on the table. I'm part of a group within the Galactic Defense Force. We call ourselves the Truth Seekers. For the past 10 years, we've been investigating the real reason why human space is quarantined. Min activated the data pad. The screen showed a collection of files marked with classification levels Hana had never seen before. These are intelligence reports from every major species in the galaxy. All of them reach the same conclusion. Humanity is not what we appear to be. The first file was from Rigelian Intelligence. Min, read from it. Assessment of Human Territorial Anomalies. Classification, Cosmic Threat Level. Recommendation, maintain current quarantine protocols indefinitely. Under no circumstances should non-human vessels attempt deep penetration of human core systems. The next file was from the Vorthon Empire. Strategic Analysis Human Space Phenomena. Evidence suggests human colonies exist in violation of known physical laws. Request immediate consultation with Council of Ancients regarding potential containment failure. Min showed her report after report. The Coretian Empire classified humans as an unknown xenological threat. The Altarian Science Consortium had labeled human space as temporally unstable territory. Even smaller species had filed reports describing humans as beyond standard classification parameters. Every single intelligence agency in the galaxy has reached the same conclusion. Min explained. Humans are not a normal spacefaring species. We are something else entirely. Hana stared at the files. But that's impossible. I'm human. I know what humans are like. We're just people who develop space travel and spread across the galaxy. Nothing special about that. That's what I thought too. But look at this. Min pulled up another file. This one was filled with testimony from the few aliens who had survived trips into human space. The first testimony was from a Vorthon explorer who had visited the human colony world of New Terra 40 years ago. The planet should not exist. According to our sensors, the star system is only 3 million years old. Not enough time for a habitable world to develop. But New Terra has been there for billions of years. The geology proves it. How is this possible? Another testimony came from a Rigelian scientist. I observed human colonists on Kepler 442b working without environmental suits in an atmosphere that should have killed them instantly. When I asked about it, they seemed confused by the question. They insisted the air was perfectly normal, but our instruments showed lethal radiation levels and toxic gas concentrations. Min showed her dozens of similar reports. Human colonies that existed in impossible locations. Human settlements that seemed to ignore environmental hazards that would kill other species. Human worlds where the laws of physics appeared to work differently. The evidence is overwhelming, Min said. Human space doesn't follow the same rules as the rest of the galaxy, and humans living in that space seem to be adapted to conditions that should be impossible. Hana felt dizzy. Are you saying humans aren't really human? I'm saying humans aren't what they think they are. Min pulled up one more file. This one was marked with security classifications so high that Hana couldn't even read them. This is from the deepest archives of the Vorthon Empire. They've been around for over 50,000 years. They've seen civilizations rise and fall across the galaxy. And according to their records, humans match the description of something they call the Lost Architects. The Lost Architects? An ancient civilization that supposedly existed before recorded galactic history. The Vorthons say the architects had the power to reshape reality itself. They could create worlds, alter the flow of time, and bend the fundamental forces of the universe to their will. Min's voice dropped to almost a whisper. According to the legends, the architects vanished mysteriously millions of years ago. No one knows what happened to them. But the Vorthon elders believe they didn't disappear. They believe the architects chose to forget who they were and live as ordinary beings. And they think humans are these architects? They think humans are their descendants, inheritors of power so vast that even in a dormant state, it changes the nature of space around human worlds. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, Kang Wu was making discoveries of his own. His investigation into the guild archives had attracted attention from people he didn't expect. One evening, as he was leaving the guild building, a woman approached him. She was human, dressed in civilian clothes, but something about the way she moved suggested military training. Kang Wu, I'm Agent Kim Yan, Human Intelligence Division. We need to talk. Wu looked around nervously. The street was mostly empty, but he knew they were being watched. I haven't done anything wrong. I was just researching navigation protocols. We know what you've been researching, and we know what you found. Yan gestured toward a small cafe across the street. Come, with me. There are things you need to understand. In the cafe, Yan ordered coffee for both of them and waited until they were alone before speaking. The files you found in the guild archives are real. Protocol Omega exists for good reasons. But those reasons aren't what you think they are. What do you mean? The galaxy isn't keeping humans quarantined to protect themselves from us. They're protecting us from the truth about what we are. Yan pulled out her own datapad and showed Wu a series of classified reports. These were from human intelligence agencies documenting the same phenomena that alien observers had reported. We know about the Silent Accord. We know about the restrictions on human space, and we know why they exist. She showed him a report filed by human scientists. Our own researchers have confirmed that human colonies exist under conditions that violate known physical laws. But unlike alien observers, we've figured out why. The report described human worlds where time moved at different speeds, where gravity worked differently, and where colonists survived in environments that should have been instantly lethal. But rather than calling these phenomena impossible, the human scientists had a different explanation. The space around human worlds is being unconsciously altered by human presence. Our minds, our bodies, our very existence changes the nature of reality in subtle but measurable ways. Wu stared at the report. That's insane. Is it? Think about human history. How quickly we developed space travel after discovering flight. How easily we adapted to life on alien worlds. How our technology advances so much faster than other species. Yan leaned forward. Humans aren't just good at surviving in space. Space itself seems to adapt to make human survival easier. She showed him more files, human colonies that had been established in star systems where the planets should have been uninhabitable. But within a few years of human settlement, these worlds had developed breathable atmospheres and stable climates. The other species have noticed this pattern. They've realized that human expansion into space isn't just colonization, it's transformation. We're changing the galaxy just by existing in it, and they're afraid of that. They're terrified of it, because they don't know if we're doing it on purpose or by accident, and they don't know what will happen when we realize we're doing it at all. Back on Kepler Station, Min was showing Hana the most classified information he had. This is the real reason for the Silent Accord, he said. displaying a file marked Galactic Council, Emergency Session, Restricted. The file contained transcripts of secret meetings between the leaders of all major galactic powers. The meetings had taken place 73 years ago, just after the first alien expeditions to human space had returned with their disturbing reports. Hana read the transcript with growing amazement and horror. The alien leaders had debated what to do about the human problem. Some had wanted to make contact and try to understand what humans were. Others had wanted. 3 weeks after learning the truth about the Silent Accord, Park Hana received a message that would change everything. It came from her younger sister Kim Yeon, who worked as a freelance cargo pilot in the outer systems. Hana, I heard about your investigation through some contacts in human intelligence. I have an idea, but it's dangerous. Meet me at Depot Station next week, and bring anyone else who wants real answers. Hana knew that Yeon was one of the best pilots in human space, but she was also reckless. Whatever her sister had in mind would probably be crazy and definitely illegal. A week later, Hana arrived at Depot Station along with Kang Woo, who had managed to get leave from his job at the Navigation Guild. Commander Song Min came too, traveling in civilian clothes to avoid attention. Yeon met them at a small equipment rental shop in the station's industrial district. She looked exactly like Hana remembered. Short hair, confident smile, and eyes that suggested she was always planning something dangerous. Good. You all came, Yeon said. I assume you've all learned about the restrictions on human space and the reasons behind them. We know that aliens think we're something we're not, Hana replied. But we still don't have proof. Just theories and secondhand reports. That's why I called you here. Yeon led them to the back of the shop, where a modified cargo vessel was docked. This is my ship, the Far Wanderer. I've been thinking about our problem, and there's only one way to get real answers. Kang Woo looked at the ship nervously. What kind of answers? The kind you can only find by going places you're not supposed to go. Yeon activated a holographic display showing a star chart. I want to take an expedition into the deepest parts of human space, the core systems where humans first established colonies, the places that aliens are most afraid to visit. Min studied the chart. That's insane. Even if we could get authorization, those systems are restricted for security reasons. Which is exactly why we need to go there. Yeon highlighted several systems on the map. Think about it. If humans really are what the aliens think we are, then the evidence would be in our oldest colonies. The places where we've been living the longest. She showed them shipping records and travel logs. I've been checking the data. Almost no one visits the core systems anymore. Even human ships avoid them. The few people who do go there come back, with stories that don't make sense. Yeon pulled up a report from a cargo pilot who had delivered supplies to a research station in the Sol system 6 months earlier. This pilot says he arrived at Earth expecting to see the usual orbital traffic and space stations. But when he got there, he found 3 times as many installations as his charts showed, structures that weren't on any official records. Maybe they were classified military installations, Min suggested. That's what he thought too. But when he asked the docking controllers about them, they acted like he was crazy. They insisted that the installations had always been there, but his navigation computer showed they hadn't existed during his previous visit 2 years earlier. Yeon showed them more reports. Pilots who had visited human core worlds and found cities in locations where empty wilderness should have been. Research teams who had discovered ancient ruins on planets that had supposedly been colonized only 50 years ago. Survey missions that had detected impossible geological formations on worlds that humans had terraformed. The evidence is there, Yeon said, but no one wants to investigate it officially. That's why we have to do this ourselves. Hana looked at her sister with concern. Even if we could get into those systems, what makes you think we'd find anything useful? If there really is something strange about human space, wouldn't the authorities know about it? Maybe they do know. Maybe that's why they don't want anyone investigating. Yeon activated another hologram, this one showing the internal layout of her ship. I've been modifying the Far Wanderer for long-range exploration, independent life support, enhanced sensors, and most importantly, A navigation system that doesn't rely on guild databases. Wu examined the ship's specifications. This is impressive work, but even with these modifications, traveling to the core systems would take weeks. 3 weeks to reach the Sol system, another week to investigate and gather data. 3 weeks back. Jan smiled. I've already requested extended leave from my current contracts. The question is, are you willing to risk it? Min was quiet for a long time, studying the star charts and ship specifications. Finally, he spoke. If we do this, we'll be violating about 50 different regulations. Human regulations, alien regulations, and probably some laws that haven't been written yet. But we'll have real answers instead of theories and rumors, Hana said. There's something else, Jan added. I've been in contact with a xenoarchaeologist named Cho Bin. He specializes in studying ancient civilizations, and he's been investigating some unusual findings in human space. He wants to join the expedition. What kind of findings? Wu asked. Artifacts that don't fit our understanding of human history, structures that are older than they should be, evidence that human space exploration might have started much earlier than the official records show. 2 days later, they met Cho Bin at a research facility on the edge of human territory. He was a middle-aged man with the intense focus of someone who spent his life digging through the mysteries of the past. I've been studying the archaeological record of human space expansion for 15 years, Bin explained. And I've found inconsistencies that no one wants to discuss. He showed them holographic displays of various human colony worlds. According to official history, humans first achieved faster-than-light travel 75 years ago. Our first colony ship reached Proxima Centauri 73 years ago. Bin highlighted several locations on the display. But I've found human artifacts on colony worlds that carbon date to over 200 years old. Structures that show signs of human habitation long before we supposedly developed space travel. Could they be from earlier unknown expeditions? Min asked. That's what I thought at first, but the dating is consistent across multiple worlds and different star systems. And the artifacts aren't primitive. They show technology that's more advanced than what we have now. Bin showed them images of the artifacts he had discovered. Metal alloys that shouldn't exist, energy systems that operated on principles human science didn't understand, and architectural designs that seemed to bend space in impossible ways. The most disturbing finding is that these ancient artifacts are still active. They respond to human presence but ignore alien researchers completely. It's as if they were designed specifically for humans, but by a civilization that had technology we can't even imagine. After seeing Bin's evidence, the group agreed that an expedition to the core systems was necessary. They spent a week preparing the Far Wanderer and gathering supplies. Min used his contacts to obtain false documentation that would allow them to travel without attracting attention. The journey to the Sol system took 3 weeks, just as Jan had predicted. During the trip, they analyzed all the data they had collected and tried to prepare for what they might find. But nothing could have prepared them for what they discovered when they arrived. Earth looked normal from a distance, the same blue and green planet that appeared in all the historical images. But as they approached closer, their sensors began detecting anomalies. This can't be right, Wu said, studying the navigation readings. According to our instruments, Earth has 17 moons. Earth has 1 moon, Hana replied. Everyone knows that. Look at the display, Wu insisted. Our sensors are detecting 17 separate satellite bodies in stable orbit around Earth. Yan activated the ship's visual sensors and magnified the view. On the screen, they could clearly see Earth's familiar moon. But scattered around it, faint and barely visible, were 16 other objects that looked like moons but didn't appear on any star charts. Maybe they're space stations, Minnie suggested. Bin was studying the sensor readings. No, these are natural satellites, but according to the data, they've been in orbit for millions of years. How is that possible? As they entered Earth's orbital space, more anomalies became apparent. The planet's surface showed cities and installations in locations where their charts indicated empty ocean or wilderness. The orbital traffic was 3 times heavier than official records suggested. We need to land and investigate, Bin said. There's something here that's been hidden from the official records. But as they prepared to request landing clearance, their sensors detected something that made everyone on the ship stop and stare at the displays. Floating in Earth's orbit, barely visible against the darkness of space, was a massive structure that dwarfed anything humans were supposed to be capable of building. It was easily the size of a small moon, but it was clearly artificial, covered with geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. "What is that thing?" Hannah whispered. Jan was trying to scan the structure with their sensors, but the readings made no sense. "According to the instruments, it's not really there, but we can see it with our eyes. It's not showing up on the navigation computers either," Wu added. "It's like our equipment doesn't know how to process what it's detecting." As they watched, other ships in Earth's orbital space flew past the massive structure, as if it didn't exist. None of them changed course. As the Far Wanderer approached the mysterious structure in Earth's orbit, their communication system suddenly activated. A voice spoke to them in perfect Korean, even though they hadn't contacted anyone. "Welcome home, children of the architects. We have been waiting for you to return." Kim Yan nearly jumped out of her pilot seat. "Who is this? How did you access our communications?" "I am Li Do, guardian of the threshold. I represent those who remember what humanity once was, and what it must become again." On their screens, the massive structure became clearer. It wasn't just a space station, it was a city, filled with spires and geometric patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. And somehow, impossibly, it was growing larger as they approached. "This isn't real," Kang Wu whispered, staring at his navigation instruments. "According to our sensors, that structure is simultaneously the size of a small moon and completely non-existent." "Reality is more flexible than most species believe," the voice of Li Do replied, "especially for those who carry the blood of the architects in their veins." Commander Song Min activated his military communicator and tried to contact Earth's orbital control. "Earth Control, this is Vessel Far Wanderer requesting immediate clarification on orbital traffic. We are detecting a massive uncharted structure in your space." The response came back confused and concerned. "Far Wanderer, we show no unusual structures in Earth orbit. Your position appears clear. Are you experiencing equipment malfunction?" "They cannot see us now," Li Do explained. "You have crossed the threshold. You exist in the space between what is and what could be. Only those who are beginning to remember can perceive this realm." Jan made the decision to dock with the structure. As their ship connected to what appeared to be a docking bay, the 5 explorers found themselves standing in a corridor that looked like it belonged in a museum of advanced technology. The walls were covered with the same symbols Chobin had found on ancient human artifacts. Li Do was waiting for them. He appeared to be human, middle-aged, wearing simple clothes. But his eyes held a depth that seemed much older than his face suggested. "You have come seeking the truth about human space," he said. "About why the galaxy fears us. About what we really are." Park Hana stepped forward. "Are you human?" "I am what humans used to be, and what you are slowly becoming again." Li Do gestured for them to follow him through the corridor. "Come. There are others you need to meet, others who remember." They walked through halls filled with technology that made no sense. Devices that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. Windows that showed views of different star systems simultaneously. Corridors that were somehow longer on the inside than they were on the outside. "How long has this place been here?" Ben asked. "Time is not linear in this space," Li Do replied. "This station has existed for thousands of years and was built yesterday. It depends on your perspective." They entered a large chamber where dozens of other humans were waiting. All of them had the same ageless quality as Li Do. All of them looked at the 5 visitors with expressions of recognition and sadness. "These are the Guardians," Li Do explained. "Humans who never forgot what our species truly is. We have been watching over Earth and the colony worlds, maintaining the barriers that keep our sleeping people safe." "Safe from what?" Min demanded. "From remembering too quickly. From awakening to their true nature before they are ready to handle that power." Li Do activated a holographic display that filled the entire chamber. It showed the galaxy as it existed millions of years ago before any of the current civilizations had developed space travel. Long ago, before the Vorthons built their first cities, before the Rigelians developed mathematics, there was a species that ruled this galaxy. They called themselves the Architects because they could reshape reality itself with their thoughts and will. The display showed worlds being created, stars being moved, entire solar systems being redesigned with casual ease. The Architects were not conquerors. They were gardeners. They seeded the galaxy with life, guided the development of countless species, and maintained the balance between order and chaos. They were, in the most literal sense, the gods of this galaxy. Hana stared at the display. And you're saying humans are descended from these Architects? Not descended from. You are the Architects, all of you. Every human alive today carries the full genetic heritage of that ancient species. The display changed, showing Earth as it had existed long before human recorded history. But instead of primitive life, it showed a world covered with impossible cities and technology that dwarfed anything the current galaxy could imagine. The Architects lived on Earth for millions of years. They guided the evolution of life throughout the galaxy, nurturing young species and protecting them from the chaos that exists between the stars. But eventually they grew tired of their responsibilities. Tired of being gods? Wu asked. Tired of the isolation that came with godhood. The Architects were immortal, all-powerful, and completely alone. No other species could understand them or relate to them. They were the caretakers of a galaxy full of children who would never grow up to be their equals. The display showed the Architects making a decision that shocked the 5 visitors. Instead of maintaining their power, they had chosen to give it up. The Architects decided to undergo what they called the Great Forgetting. They used their reality-shaping abilities one final time to lock away their own memories and powers. They chose to become ordinary humans, living normal lives on a single world, with no memory of what they had once been. But why? Hana asked. Because they wanted to experience what it was like to be mortal, to grow, to learn, to discover things for the first time, to live without the burden of infinite knowledge and unlimited power. Li Du showed them more images. The Architects sealing away their technology, erasing their cities, and settling into simple lives as early humans. But the power was never truly gone. It was locked away, dormant, waiting for humanity to slowly rediscover it as we spread across the stars. The Architects designed the Great Forgetting to be temporary, a cosmic reset that would allow their descendants to eventually reclaim their heritage. And that's what's happening now? Min asked. It has been happening for the past 75 years, ever since humans first achieved faster-than-light travel. Every step into space awakens more of the dormant power. Every colony world becomes a place where reality bends to human will, whether we realize it or not. Bin pointed to the symbols covering the walls. These markings I've been finding on human worlds, memory fragments. As humans live and work in space, they unconsciously recreate the technology and architecture of the Architects. The power remembers, even when the people do not. Li Do led them to another chamber, where they could see views of human colony, worlds through what appeared to be windows that showed multiple realities at once. Look at what human space has become, he said. Worlds where the atmosphere changes to support human life. Solar systems where the planets move into more convenient orbits. Space where the laws of physics adjust themselves to make human survival easier. Through the windows they could see impossible things. Human colonists walking on the surface of worlds that should have been uninhabitable. Cities that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Ships traveling faster than light should have allowed. The other species noticed this almost immediately. When humans first ventured into space, they realized that human expansion wasn't just colonization, it was transformation. Reality itself was changing to accommodate human presence. And they were terrified, Hana said. Terrified and desperate. They remembered the ancient legends about the Architects. They realized that the gods of the galaxy had returned, but without memory of their true nature. The question was, what would happen when humans finally remembered who they really were? Li Du showed them records of the secret meetings that had led to the Silent Accord. The galactic powers faced an impossible choice. They could try to destroy humanity before we fully awakened, but that would likely fail and would certainly provoke our power to manifest defensively. They could make contact and tell us the truth, but rapid awakening might drive humans insane or turn us into tyrants. Or they could wait and hope that humanity would gradually remember our true nature, in a way that wouldn't threaten the rest of the galaxy. So they chose to quarantine us, Min said. They chose to give humanity time to grow into our power naturally. The Silent Accord wasn't just about keeping aliens away from human space. It was about keeping humans isolated until we were mature enough to handle the truth about ourselves. But the isolation is breaking down, Jan observed. Yes. More humans are asking questions. More evidence is being discovered, and the power is manifesting more strongly with each passing year. The time of the great forgetting is ending, whether we're ready or not. Li Du led them to a final chamber, where a massive holographic display showed the current state of human space. They could see the reality distortions around every human world, the impossible technology that was beginning to manifest, and the gradual awakening of abilities that had been dormant for millions of years. This is why the galaxy refuses to chart human space, Li Du explained. Because human space is no longer bound by the same physical laws as the rest of the